Um, Good evening, everyone. Something went wrong with technical issues again. So just while I wait for everyone to actually realise that this was the one that's live and not the one that I think should have gone. Yeah. Uh, Basically, something went wrong with Streamlabs. I'm not sure what it was. So I just got to I forgot how to use YouTube Studio. So I believe this one's live, and there is one that I am about to delete, I believe. Yeah, there we go. So the one that I did actually set up was gone weird. Good evening, Graham, and good evening, Lee. Yeah, I'm not too bad. This thing's not working properly. So that's done, and I've actually started the live stream. I don't know why he struggled to start the live stream, but he did. Anyway, usual introductions. Welcome to Lazy Mini Painting. I'm Les, guy behind the camera. Nice to meet you all. This is a therapy session number 1 for the week. Welcome. I've forgotten how to do this now, so I can actually join the portrait mode chat and everything. I forgot. See, you take a little bit of time off and everything goes to crap. Everything. So how is everybody? I hope you're all doing okay. I hope this is going to work as well. Ta-da. Please work. I think it's that one I need to go on to. Yes, it is. I'm figuring stuff out. I'm learning. It's great, this, isn't it? Curing is crap, I must admit. It is absolutely waiting for stuff to cure. It sucks. At least not have, it sucks almost as much as wanting to have to wait for stuff to cure and not having the ability to, because, well, you don't have a fucking 3D printer, so you can't print things like everyone else around you seems to be able to do. Especially when it means I could turn Angry Rod into a demon prince. Good evening, Patrick. And then that would be awesome, but apparently not. I'm not allowed to do that. Right. We're carrying on with the tiles. If I remember rightly, we had 2 more of them to do. Dink, 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 dink. And 1 more of them to do. So I'm going to do the 2 more of them ones first. Because, well, I think we managed to get quite a quick thing out to do how to do them. So we mark off down all bloody edges. Centimeters. And then we go cross, 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 cross down one. And then we go bit, 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 bit down the other one. And that seems to work. As long as we choose kind of the right edges to go from. So in this case we went from that edge. I'm not entirely sure how straight that edge is, in all fairness. That edge is not very straight at all. It's not very straight at all, that one, is it? Buggering hell, that's way out. Yeah, it's a pain in the backside, Patrick. But we've got a system. We've got a system. Don't know if it bloody works, but we've got a system. We put a little mark in at every half centimetre, and that gives us half centimetre by 1 centimetre bricks all the way along the bloody wall. That actually laid semi-right-ish, or wall, pavement, road, whatever you want it to be, because it is tiles after all. So one would assume you're using one as flooring, just to represent different types. That is actually nearest bang on the 13. But that one is bang on the 13, so ideally we want that one lined up. Right, okay. This is a pain in the ass part. The rest of it, I just got to be careful not to punch the bloody pen through the foam. And I've got 2 of them to do, which doesn't help. The copper ones are much easier, I'm not gonna lie. This is where we find out actually how far out some of these measurements actually are. Oh, the joys, the joys. Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Yeah, they're gonna look okay. We shall see though, we shall see. Here's hoping they actually got the sticker in the right place. I'm using that to help me line this bloody thing up. I hope I'm on both cameras. I am. It's good, isn't it? It's good. Oh, it's got an odd live chat for some reason on my portrait mode one. I don't know why. It's almost like it knows it's my channel or something. It's giving me the usual bloody things I would have on YouTube. So how was everyone's weekend? Have you been watching the Fuzzy Ball? If you've been staying up that late, it's obviously it's in America, so and Mexico and Canada, and yeah, I don't understand why it's in. I don't understand, but apparently, yeah, it's in all 3. Right, now for the really annoying part. So, that one gets lined up with that one. And it helps if I do it the right way around, just so I can do it a bit easier. That one there. With that one there. Okay, nice and steady and easy. And up and down we go, trying not to break through the actual foam. Yeah, we will do eventually. Although then again, I said I'd cut myself last time and I didn't. So, you know, I might be getting better at this. Draw out all the lines. So we've got a Mod Podge all these yet. And then they all need, well, some need dry brushing, some need painting. What I might do is one of the brick wall thingy my Bobby efforts, I might half and half it, just try different stuff, and then I can always chop it in to make corridors. And then use one method to do a couple of sets and do one method to do another couple of sets, and then I can have a varied couple of sets, can't I? Kind of the same with the cobbled ones, or I'm going to do these ones all in the same style, I hope. Well, I'm going to use the same basis for it, but for others I could vary it up a bit instead. Most love around the house, not bad. Did a 2-on-2. What were you using on your team for the 2v2? And what were your opponents using to smash you? Because if I can, I might see if Karma convinced doing something. Help speed him up painting his models. And then should only take an afternoon. If he's got everything that he wants. An afternoon and a bit of blue tack or some tape. We should be able to get most of his tower army done as well then. Then I can play. First game, Grey Knights and Custodes. Second game, Imperial Knights and World Eaters. Your sister's partner played Grey Knights and Knights. Ooh, so it's very rare. Oh, so Grey Knights versus Custodes. That's not a good matchup. Imperial Knights versus World Eaters. That sounds like a. See, knowing the World Eaters can punch up against Knights is nice, but you would expect to at least do some damage. Did they have Angron by any chance? Angron, a bunch of bloody 8-bound. Yeah, see, this is all going to be wonky at the bottom. It's not going to line up right, but I can always trim that off, which is good. I can do that with pretty much all of them if necessary to straighten up the edges. Now there is an advantage to these brick ones. Not only can they be used for street tiles, you can just put them straight on two walls and then cut out from the inside if you want, and then you got a brick wall. Oh, you were sisters and Grey Knights. Sorry. You were sisters, your partner was Grey Knights. Ah. Yeah, it's a weird one, that. Well, it's not so much a mirror, because Grey Knights get the nerf that Custodes get, but they don't get all the buffs. whereas custodes get the higher toughness, higher wound count, and slightly better both ranged and melee weapons. I don't think it's fair for Grey Knights. Grey Knights should have got that love, not custodes. Grey Knight certainly needs something. That last Grandmaster Nemesis Dread Knight thingy upgrade sprue was not enough, along with the Castellan Crow. Good evening, lads. Ali, good evening. Hi, Laz. Hi, Sparkles, and good evening to everybody else. Right, that's the liney bit done. Now we need to decide which bit's going to be the first full set of bricks. So I'm going to have the top as a full set on this one, so it's that one. And we scrub down every other. And then we come across to the next half one, which is there. And now we go do the ones that we didn't do last time. And then alternate all the way fucking across. And eventually we get a brick road, brick wall, brick something or other, squarish thing. Yeah. And what I'm going to end up doing is getting these square first and then try to measure them out, so they'll probably get trimmed down a hell of a lot as they get put into actual squares rather than wonky squares. Nobody likes a wonky square. Well, I don't mind a wonky square. Wonky squares are okay. But when you're trying to be precise, you don't want a wonky square. And if you're trying to do them off certain distances and measurements and blah, 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 blah. Good evening, Twisted. I'm not sure non-metallic metal work is getting a bit out of hand. Some of us can barely put a wash down properly. And next we know you'll be glazing models. That is one of the damn near ultimate techniques as far as I'm concerned, by the way, is glazing. If you can actually paint a model properly glazing it, then jeez, no. That's knowing every exact layer and which colour you need it to be, and the layers are really, 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 really thick. So when I say layer, you probably have to put about 12 down just to get that layer. Or you might not, because you might want to very, very, very subtly change some, and it's, whew, yeah, it's a technique and a half, is glazing. Hopefully Graham is painting some of them. Ah, there he is. You're hoping to get a Thunderheart finished. Well, I thought you said you were going to paint some dwarfs. Some dwarves. Paint some dwarves. Paint some dwarves. Paint some industrialized dwarves. They can dig a lot quicker and they mine a lot further because they've industrialized dwarfs. I didn't go well, very well. Oh well. Oh well. It doesn't matter really, does it? Still need to paint some dwarfs. as well as about 96 bazillion other models. Get cracking, lad, get cracking. Models ain't gonna paint themselves. Are we over halfway through? We're about halfway through. For the first one, anyway. Rinse and repeat. Just remember to alternate every time you move over. Otherwise, you just end up with lots of big squares in a line. It doesn't look good. Doesn't look like a brick wall. Or a brick anything. Just looks like a load of squares in a line. We don't want that. We can add curving and things if we need to later. With thinner bits of the foam. Specifically designed to be curving. See, we've got this idea of the small ones. We'll come back to the small ones in a little bit. You can. It's a good Windrose song for dwarfs. Very good Windrose song for dwarfs. And it's not even like you have to go all Lord of the Rings yet. Oh, they like that type of stuff. Nah, Windrose actually do it well. And then there's Peter Jackson movie soundtrack stuff. That is a good question, Ellie. How is everyone over on portrait mode? Hope you're all having a good time. We are filling in half-centimetre bricks slowly but surely. Now that we've figured out the setup to do it relatively quickly. Did my light just get dimmer then? I think my light just auto-dimmed. Why did my light just auto-dim? Does this mean I need a new light? Yeah, my light didn't like that. I may need a new light. That is not good. That is not good. It's good enough that I can see, thankfully, and hopefully still good enough that you can still see that roughly what I'm doing, because losing that is not good. Yeah, it was weird. I don't understand what's just. It went bright again for a second and just immediately dulled again. It's very, very odd. That helps it be at least a little bit brighter, just changing it from the both to just cold. It does help it appear a little brighter at least. Ah, no, I forgot I can't do it that way, can I? No matter how hard I want to. Because then I forget which way around it's supposed to be which, because I'm covering it. So it's that one, that one. There is a stage I forgot to do last time. I must remember to do this time. Is this going to work? Right. Ignore that bit. I'm using it starting from the top there. So that one, so that one. This may be a fuck up. Oh, this may actually work. No, it has worked. Okay, so the next one across, and we do the bottom. And next one across, we do the top. Missing that one again. And this is where we find out we've got some trimming to do. Because at least that line, and that line are going to have to come off eventually. Good night, Lee, and hello, Louis. Welcome in. Welcome in. Yeah, sorry, I have my head down for a bit there. But we have another tile. And one more of them to do. Yay! I hear you all scream, love you, love it, yay! Doing boring, monotonous little lines of phone, lads, you know what we adore. Sorry. Slight sarcasm there for me. I know it is boring watching me do loads of little dotted lines. Although I do have a confession to make. I did something off camera to try and help make tonight a little bit more interesting. I say interesting. Speed it along so I'm not just doing this all night, essentially. Because this is all I did last week entirely because I only had a Thursday. And hopefully in between the other stuff that I've got to do, because this doesn't require a lot of set up our room, I can continue and get these done prior to me being set up somewhere else, hopefully that working. And then I can get onto the Armageddon box, which we all know I want to get onto because we love me a bit of Dakar. Right, if that's going to be the main point. That lined up as straight as we can, without being mathematical precision geniuses, engineers, or anything, trying to be anything close to. This is a fantasy world. They do not cut by lasers. They do good, honest stonemasonry. Even when it comes to a cobbled street. Make sure this first one's in place. I'll make sure there is a map that I can actually follow. I need to message actually. Again, I think the 11th edition. Because although I may not be in the place to paint the 11th edition models, I will have a copy of the rulebook, so I should be able to play them. Right, so that's the end of that. That's the end. I can actually afford to be quite liberal with on the markings. It's all wibbly wobbly. In fact, I'm going to put a line down there just because it's probably going to be one that's going to be cut off. And then I can work that way down to make the cross lines. Good night, Graham. I hope you're having at least a better day today. Get some painting, it'll do you good. Sit down and paint something for fun, as opposed to for obligation. It took me a while to find the fun of painting and the craft inside. Now that I've found it, it's kind of taken over the game side. Although, no doubt, I'll have 2 new codexes to get in the near future. I'm already thinking about modifying some of the Armageddon box set, I've got to say. The 3 Eradicators with heavy bolters, yeah, they look okay, but I've got things that can do anti-infantry. So what I'm thinking is chopping off the bolt a bit of it and sticking on some multi-melter bits. And expand my Eradicators with melter rifles and multi-melters. But why wouldn't you? I'd rather have 9 with melters and multi-melters than 6 with them, with just the melter rifles and 3 heavy bolter guys. Just makes sense. So, yeah, they're looking to be converted already. Don't know what to do with primaries, guys, with the intercessors. I might make the intercessors up and then see what I can do with other things. Because I believe there's going to be a lot of stuff going to Legends. So I'm going to have to see what I can salvage from my firstborns by putting them on bigger bases. Yeah, but they've done that before. They've done that when they rebooted at the start of 8th. They give everyone essentially a code, not a codex, an index for free. And it was very, very loose rules until you get your codex. And essentially those who had to wait for their codex and it only had the index, yeah, they really suffered when it came to an army that had a codex, including new models that the index didn't even have. Particularly in the case of Necrons and Space Marines, when was it no Nurgle and Space Marines, because it was the big introduction of Primaris Marines. Obviously, for a while they wanted them to run quite dominant, so Girlyman was back quite strongly. Space Marines were doing alright for quite a bit. Some FAQs let Nurgle do alright for a bit. Plague Burst Crawlers were a fucker. Marty was a fucker as well. Basically, any of the vehicles that came out in that initial Nurgle wave, I did not like. Because you got the Mephitic Blight Haulers, they were a pain in the ass close range. And they came in units of 3. So that wasn't nice. And then you had the Fetid Bloat Drone, which also came in units of 3 at the time. So that wasn't very bloody nice. And then you had the Plague Burst Crawlers, and although they came on their own, which was good, you could still take 3 of them. And I think one was an elite slot, one was a heavy slot, and one was a fast slot, so you could take bloody loads of the damn things. I'm not sure where my Space Marine Codex is, actually. I don't have one. But I can only find last editions. I can't find this edition's. I've got a feeling it's upstairs, but I'm not sure where. I know Calm has the Tyranny Codex. I don't currently possess the Orc Codex for 10th edition. Which sucketh an almighty amount, I must admit. So in this case, I'm gonna go there, 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 there. I'm gonna start that way around. Ah, crap. See, sometimes you end up doing that. That's not good. I mean, one defect within the walls is not a bad thing, but you don't want to do too many. See, now I've got a weird little section there, which is the what the fuck? Twisted, what have you been drinking? I don't understand what the fart cat is. I really don't understand what the fart cat is. Oh, if you are new here and you want to come back and see us and chat again, please hit the like and subscribe thingy. That'll let you know when I'm live. Because, well, I don't always know. I try to go live every Monday and Thursday. It doesn't work every time. I'm quite consistent, which is not 100%. See, now I've got a stack of 3 bricks there. That's going to be weird. That didn't work out. That really fucked up. Didn't think about that one. Oh, well, as I said, one wall with a defect and only one defect isn't too bad, and neither is it the end of the world. It is character undeveloped. Just teaching me I shouldn't be rushing these things. Even though it was a German accent. Bad jokes, people, bad jokes. These Louis, do you remember the little creature things that I was making? Well, not making, I was painting. And I was doing them so I could have my own little Dungeons and Dragons world. So I could run Dungeons and Dragons things. Well, I did want to run it over Discord and allow people to either use virtual dice or real dice if they wish to. A certain amount of trust will be required, but if I can use this camera as a top-down camera, then I can use these tiles. So you can actually use the characters. I've started making some of the character sheets. ADHD's, I've got to say, is not a great thing. Does stunt your motivation for certain stuff sometimes, but I still need to do lots of character sheets. Now, some are available, but I still have lots more to do. Which is why, if you remember any of the Sparkles and Oak series, then and you like a certain character and you would like to play that character, let me know and that I can get that character sheet done. It is only a very loose character sheet, so certain things are flexible. Have a chat with me when we set a game up. As soon as we've got about 4 players, we'll start looking at going ahead with it. In the meantime, I'm doing as much prep work as I can. Also, while taking a little bit of break from Warhammer, because I know I've got the 11th edition box set coming. So, that's going to be a lot of Warhammer for a while. With me keeping 2 sides and having to rebuild what I have of orcs at the same time as building the new orcs. And getting the old orcs out and figuring out what I've actually got for orcs. I have some things for orcs, but some things need painting, some things need repairing. There's a lot of various different stuff going on there. Essentially, I've left them without a boss for too long. They've got a bit rowdy in the tub. 1 or 2 of them need to go see the doc. A couple of them need to go see a mech. Now what I need to see is the size of the new boss knob compared to the old knobs. What I can potentially make for the knob, because I'm not sure how many I have with power claws, etc. Do I want full units of power claw ones, or do I want them to be more big choppers and have the power claw ones on the boys, or leading the boys? I've got a lot to think about. And not a lot of codex to be reading to be going off it. I would imagine you still get the upgrade for the boys though, to have a knob with a power claw. It's just whether or not it's still limited to 20-man mod units or 30-man units, or. And again, that's another bloody set that I'm going to have to rebase because Games Workshop decided that no, they're on too small bases now. These need to be on 32s. Because they've scaled everything up with the Primaris rooms. Even the standard guardman's bigger than it used to be. Although with me having some very, very firstborn within my army. Even though they've crossed the Rubicon, Primaris are still a bit small, and you've got to give them bigger bases. Such as Vanguard veterans. What would now be classified as assault intercessors. I believe the tactical squadron will going to go in the way of the legends, along with Centurion Devastators, which I'm gutted about. Possibly standard Devastators, which I'm not sure if they've actually got anything to replace them. Nearly not. Doing a bit of a Templar pauldroning. Yeah, I've not even started doing my actual decals for shoulders and stuff yet. I do have some. Oh no, it's for the wrong type of printer now, that isn't it? So I need to get different transfer paper and scale and print out my decals again. Although I could really do with some microset and microsol. So skip the first one. Which is that one. Done. Ha ha! Ha 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 ha. Knock knock. Knock knock. Who's that? That's there's a reason why there's only 3, but yes, that's them done. Right, now we've got another one of these to do. And these ones aren't as easy to get square and etc and stuff, so. I'm going to start by going there and joining them two up to give it a place to go should we need it. Very simple start to the project as well on this one. As I said, excellent stonemasons. Get stones that fit. Especially when doing stuff like cobbled road. Thought you heard someone knocking at my side. No, I don't think so. I didn't hear nobody knocking at my window, which is directly next to me. Might have been people walking around upstairs. My eldest has just finished college today, final exam, and may have had a few drinks at a local watering tavern to celebrate. So they may be a bit clumsy on the feet at the minute, but that's about it, really. Oh, you have your printing friend working on your decals. I figured it's cheaper for me to do it myself, just because of the quantity that I'll need. And I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to find a new one that I like. With me now being bears, not dragons. I mean, there's no reason I can't keep the dragons, but I do have a great big whopping bear in there, don't I? Although I was also thinking if I put wings on that, then that could be a good angle. You off to bed? Good night, Ali. I hope you have a lovely night's sleep. And again, don't work too hard tomorrow. Only work as hard as they pay you, and they never pay you enough. I don't care how much people want to defend their employer, they never pay enough. Not for the work they ask for. And if you're an employer, pay your employees more. Especially those with families to feed. Those who work hard and have families to feed. Well, what the hell is a 21-year-old snot-nosed kid with no bloody anything to sitting on his ass doing nothing need all that bloody money for? They don't. But I watch the social media. Yeah, you sit there watching your own social bloody media all day and occasionally do two tweets for the company. Which turns into fuck all revenue. Not a problem that you take care of your health more than anything else. And if that's kicking your ass, then make sure you get the correct medication or treatment that you will need to, because I'm not sure which way around it would go. Some people need insulin, some people need sugar. These are a bit fun, these aren't they? These are a bit fun. I wonder. Yeah, it is what you do kind of just get lost into. Well, what we're going to do there, it's going to be a little one there, so we'll have to round off that bit and then round off that bit and bring it out there. And it is one of those tasks you can kind of just go at it without too much, or without any planning really, apart from, right, they've got to be roughly roundish at corners, and some of them have to be completely round, and sometimes you're going to have to put little darker bits in. So, like where that corner didn't meet properly there, that made that bit of a darker crevice. The difficult thing, the biggest difficult thing on it is not going through the bloody card. Not the foam, I mean. Because it's really thin foam. It's only like what, mil and a bit thick. It is really, really thin. So as I'm making these indentations and stuff, I've got to be careful not to go through the actual. Makes it a bit of a pain. Also, here on Lazy Mini Pacing, we like to endorse our friends. Some of the future, probably NPCs and enemies that you may face if you do wish to play Dungeons and Dragons will more than likely be coming from our friend in earlier, Graham, Rogues Den Hobbies, as I now have a few NPCs to be customizing a little bit from his standard ones. And then being able to use them as I said, various NPCs, enemies, other characters, all sorts of things. But still stuff that I will be bringing forward on the channel in the future. Oh yeah, they're incredibly thin, Twisted. They're incredibly thin. So just you can see definitely if I go too far through, it's ripping straight through to the other side. I'm lucky that's doing all these so far. I've not gone through, but yeah, touch wood. There's still all this to go. Whew. It's getting there. It's getting there. I did come on early tonight, I just realised. I came on early for a couple of reasons. One, I've noticed that when I go for a cigarette break, when I come back, I'm usually not on very long. So I'm going to go for that earlier. Might end up being a little bit longer, so I'm probably going to go for it after doing this. And when I come back, I've actually got extra stuff planned for a part two, almost. See, I've put thought into this stream for a fucking change. I've not labelled it right. It should have been models and musings, whatever, 100 and yeah. But I've labelled it folk tale, same as last time. Because I'm an idiot. That's what I am. I'm a bleeding idiot. I'm just kind of gonna move that one off as one big chunk of slab right there. With a nice big crack up it as well. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have one more than I thought we was going to have. Microsol to put it on, then microset to kind of put it in place, and the two main things. Those are the two main things. So hopefully when I come back, I'm going to go from these to maybe not the exact same colorings, but these, or at least some of them anyway. These are this 7 hours need to paint with Mod Podge first and let it dry, but I have prepared some. I also have another stage to do on these as well, which I will do when I come back. But that's the idea, is to get them to them. Hopefully, anyway. Hopefully. But when it comes down to, yeah, decals, microset and microsol are probably the easiest ones. Twisted, do you already have a video doing decals? Possibility. Good evening, Buzzard. Right, Buzzard, I'm about to nip off for a cig just so I can come back and do more afterwards. Have you got a brew and a smoke? If not, go get yourself prepped. I shall be back soon. Oh no, what? I need to go find music first. I don't think Arc would be. You're prepping? Not a problem, not a problem. Let's see, who do we want? We want Arius Nation. Videos. I have no idea what some of these are going to be like. I'm going to have to go back to Starbound. It's the only one that I know that's relatively good. You are prepping. That is good. That is good. Right, I shall get this up and running and I'll come back as soon as I can. Please, if you'd like to stay around, at least logged in. We'll, as I said, we'll have Podge in the white ones and then we'll get on to the blue Peterish moment.
When the hearts collapse, we rise, burning out their hollow lies. In the dark, we light the flame. We're the ones who won't remain. Whispers break on a sleepless line. Every word falls out of time. Empty echoes, nothing new, but I still reach for you. Every signal drifts away, but the static makes me stay. Through the quiet, through the gray, I still hear you anyway. When the signals fade tonight, I'll still keep your voice inside. Through the silence, through the rain, I'll remember all the same. Every light in the distance fades. Every promise the silence made. Still I wait on the other side for the words we never tried. Every signal drifts away, but the static makes me stay. Through the quiet, through the gray, I still hear you anyway. When the signals fade tonight, I'll still keep your voice inside. Through the silence, through the rain, I'll remember all the same. Even if the sound is gone, I'll keep holding, I'll hold on. Every silence, every ache is the proof that hearts don't break.
night feels the same old way. Every truth is too far away. I still hear them inside my head, words I wish I had never said.
Every chain was a choice we made. Every moment begins to fade, but the fire is still alive. Through the ashes we'll survive.
We can't hide from what we've been. Every loss drags us in.
Through the static, through the glass, still we hear the voices pass.
Voices from the past remain, calling out through endless rain.
We were broken, we were lost, but we'll rise above the cost.
But we'll rise above the cost.
Even if the sound decays, even if we lose our way, every ghost is proof we live. Every scar is what we get. Voices from the past remain, calling out through endless rain. We were broken, we were lost, but we'll rise above the cost. Still we hear the voices pass. Voices from the past remain, calling out through endless rain. We were broken, we were lost, but we'll rise above the cost. Still we hear the voices pass. Still we hear the voices pass.
Still we hear the voices past.
Fading lines between wrong and right. Every dream burns into the night. Signals drift, but they never die. Every spark still lights the sky. We were chasing what we lost, never counting what it cost. Through the static, through the haze, we still find another way. Parallels collide with daydreams. Nothing's ever what it seems. Through the distance, through the fight, we're still burning in the night. Every scar is a guiding flame. Every loss just becomes a name. We were echoes without a sound. Now we're shaking the underground. We were chasing what we lost, never counting what it cost. Through the static, through the haze, we still find another way. Parallels collide with daydreams. Nothing's ever what it seems. Through the distance, through the fight, we're still burning in the night. We're still burning in the night. Every fracture, every line, crossing worlds that we define. Through the silence we remain. Every scar becomes a name. Parallels collide with daydreams. Nothing's ever what it seems. Through the distance, through the fight, we're still burning in the night. We're still burning in the night. Faded words on a quiet line. Every memory lost in time. Broken voices still remain. Through the static, through the rain. Every silence feels so near, but I still know what I hear. Every shadow disappears when the static clears. When the static clears tonight, I will say the fading light. Every scar, every fear, they don't follow here. Empty streets where we used to run. Every song we had begun. Though the echoes start to fade, still the meaning never strayed. Every silence feels so near, but I still know what I hear. Every shadow disappears when the static clears. When the static clears tonight, I will say the fading light. Every scar, every fear, they don't follow here. Through the noise I found a way. Every night becomes a day. Even when the fire dies, I still see it in your eyes. When the static clears tonight, I will say the fading light. Every scar, every fear, they don't follow here. They don't follow here. When the static clears. Another night we can't explain. Cover stories, different names. We were fire in a world of lies. Running under starlit skies. We're not the saints they thought we'd be. We're chasing ghosts they'll never see. Every secret, every fight. We were sparks against the night. We made starlit alibis. Falling fast but still alive.
I didn't realise the music had stopped. Sorry about that. I am back. Sorry it took so long. There was one or two cat issues I had to sort out. Lovely cat. They always like to be the centre of attention when they can be. So, Mod Podging. Move these two out of the way. They can go back up there with the other ones now. Oh, far now. Keep the red one on the top because I need that as more of a reference. And get the big daft silicon sheet out so I don't get stuff messed up and all. No, I forgot something. Tinfoil ball. Press it into texture the brick surfaces and stone surfaces to stop them being as flat. I forgot that section. It is an important part. It stops them looking all flat and horrible and gives something for dry brushing and inks to... Oh, don't you start. You've just been the reason I've been stood outside for half an hour because you're whinging, old cat. Yeah, you. Proper whingy old cat you are. Won't go outside unless I'm with you. So hopefully everyone's got cups of teas, coffees, snacks, food, whatever it is that they've decided that they require to continue modelling toilet breaks, etc. And we all are ready to texture and Mod Podge these. Quite a few tiles actually now I think about it. So I do have a couple of blue pizzas, so I might just do a couple of tiles, put them to one side. And use the others as experimented. And see how we get on from the experiments. Still needs to message Angie. In fact, that is a good point. Right, that's lots of texturing done on those two. 3, even. Now do some texturing on these ones. These ones slightly more important because they have larger open areas. See, so I'm putting the dints in. You can see it gives it a little bit more texture. And the way that we start painting these will be pretty much the same. They will be getting a layer of Mod Podge just to help go through. One of them. This bit can take a while. You can get things called texture rollers, and in this case they would work perfectly fine. In fact, they may even give you the indentations that you want a little bit easier, especially the brickwork and things like that, although they are more made for clay. They have to press them pretty damn hard with the texture rollers. There is nothing stopping you getting to your comfy spot. Do not even whinge about my jacket. Yeah. Kitty cat does talk to me and argue with me. Yeah, I'm talking about you, not to you. I am. About not to. Texturing the foam tiles. Sometimes you end up getting your tin foil, your foil, whatever you want to call it, your foil. It ends up becoming a bit flat. So then you've got to start breaking it up. And you've got to move it around. And eventually you can get some texture back on it. So you can start attacking the bloody foam again to put dints and stuff in to make it actually look like it might be worn or used rock. Rather than just a flat piece of like foam that it actually is. Always good. Always good. And thank you to anyone who stayed around. Anyone new, if you'd like to hit the like and subscribe button, please feel free. If you want to chat, feel free as well. I do have chat boxes open to try and catch both of it as I can. Last one. It's getting to the point where it's going to like, it may even need replacing at this point. If I can get a good split round here, then I might be alright. Yeah, that's not too bad. Takes a bit of work, does this? Not buying it pre-done and making it yourself does require that little bit of extra effort. Oh, it says lazy when you're painting. It doesn't mean the same lazy about everything. I'm just not going for golden demon level painting. I'm going for good enough. I won't be able to play. And my opponent will be able to see my models and tell what my models are. Because the plasma weapons look like plasma weapons. The bolt weapons look like bolt weapons. And the sluggers look like sluggers and the choppers look like choppers. You get what I mean. That's the idea. That's what we're looking for. Okay. Mod Podge is next. Mod Podge. Good old one with black paint already mixed in. Before we do that, we wish to put the silicone matty thing down. Just so then we can move them all and they don't stick to things too badly. I don't think I'm going to get to paint them all in. So let's see, let's get an interesting one there. There's an interesting one. And we'll get a not so interesting one. It's still just as interesting, and we'll leave those three to off camera. Just for expediency. You don't want to be here for too long. Painting all things Mod Podgy. Okay, so I can actually move the silicon sheet afterwards. Would be a good idea, wouldn't it? And put it on Mod Podge across all of it. Just to give it a sealing layer and a little bit of extra protection. And there is one brick thing number one done. Repeat the process for the second one. And obviously the same for the two cobblestones. I'm being quite liberal with this, but I'm trying to get it spread as evenly as possible. I don't want it building up too much because it is kind of blue. It will fill in the gaps. And I don't necessarily want that. So no big splotches, please. No big splotches. Does anyone know if they're going to update the Warhammer app when 11th edition comes out to include all the nice new units and blah 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 blah? Because apparently you're supposed to be able to use your own codexes, which would be great. It's just that it's going to have to update a shit ton of keywords and stuff, isn't it? Such as how leaders are, when the leaders are attached to units and what things they get for not being attached and blah 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 yakety schmackety rules. Now I'm aware Auspex Tactics does cover pretty much everything. But I don't think he's mentioned anything about that yet. And I don't think the other Northern Wank has mentioned anything. Obviously me being one of them. The other one being who people do like to call a bit of a scam rack. And what is you, in fairness, as you said, rumours are rumours. But I don't know if we've been asked that question yet. Because if it does update the app, that'll be awesome. Because I could just adjust the two Tyranids and the Space Marine army to be what I need them to be. Run it off the mobile data. And I can do that game for me and Northern, which I still need to get in contact with. But we can play 11th and learn 11th together. Maybe even have Calm along as well. Or anyone else who wishes to be there. Anyone with interest, please let me know in Discord. Because Northern does have his own obligations. So finding a night when we're, or a day when we're about to be able to do it is going to be fun. Right, so there are 4 tiles. Mod Podge and ready to dry. Now, as long as I don't drop them, I should be okay. I just need to move you over to there. Move you over to there. That's okay. That was just a glitch. Nip and wash my brush, and then we'll come back to a little bit of texture on there, we'll do. And we'll come back to see what we do about the next stage after that, which is quite a bloody lot actually. Okie dokie, that brush has been washed and is now drying. How do you do? Happy days. I am actually, yeah, microphone is working, that's good. Right, as I said, because I've prepared essentially what I've just Mod Podged up. 2 of each. No worries, Twisted. No worries, you didn't miss much. I had to go. I went way, had a cigarette, had a few cat issues, Mod Podged up a few things, and now these are the ones I prepared earlier. Now, there are 2 courses of thought on this. Now, I could do 2 different coloured bricks. I could go for a grey brick and a red brick. I could go for 2 different coloured red bricks, which is kind of what I'm thinking, because I can't remember how I got that. I can't remember what I used to get that shade of red brick. I'm pretty sure I mixed some burgundy with a bit of red. Pretty positive I did. So I'm going to give that a try first. You've dropped a photo in Whip. Excellent. I shall have a look in a moment. There is quite a few things in Whip actually, since you and Lucky have been almost tit for tatting actually. Been an interesting one. So I want some burgundy. And then I want some Mephisto red, because I want a slightly brighter red. I do want slightly brighter red. So some Mephisto red. Pretty sure. I thought I shot this earlier. There we go, that's better. Still a little bit on the purpley side. We can solve that by adding a bit more red. So at the moment it's about 2 parts red, 1 part burgundy. And I think with a dry brush we might just have that. So 2 parts Mephisto red, 1 part what's it called? Bracknell burgundy. And hopefully we get a nice red brickish colour. Now to get a larger brush out to do this with. Well, we are going to give this a wash afterwards. In this case, I'm not going to be too bothered about getting a 100% even tone, just because it'll give some variance within the brickwork itself. And give it a very, very rough brushing. Just so that it's not getting too much, as I said, of an even tone. Not every brick is the exact same colour, not every brick is even, so to speak. So there's most certainly some that are slightly brighter than others. And this is the reason why you should use a wet palette, because, wow, that's almost dried out already. Or you should add a dry retarder or a thinner to it. Especially when you're mixing that many paints. Ooh, this is going to take a bit. But I want these to be able to dry properly before in this case I'm going to use the bigger brush to get the paint out. Big dollars from Bratnar Burgundy. That's one stacker. Where the fuck have I just put the Mephisto? Oh, there it is. Wondering where I put the Mephisto red then. How dare I wonder what? Put paints down, I'll lose them. One great big dollop of red. And they go for another great big dollop of red. That's two great big dollops of red and the Bratnar Burgundy. And we mix them together. Darken the red down. And this time we get a tiny little bit of flow improvement. Just a tiny, 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 tiny bit. Oh, that was way too much. That was way too much. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's going to improve the flow of the paint. I have just thinned it down so much. Let's see how it goes on. It's going on a lot wetter than it was a minute ago. It's going on more like a speedy paint type paint now. That's not necessarily a good thing. I mean, if you've got any questions about my process in doing this, please feel free to ask. That's anyone who's not sat there and watched me painstakingly go through this process. It does take a little bit of something out of you, I've got to say. Well, even with this flow improver, it means I've definitely got enough to do the other section. And then I can let those two dry. And then I can go do the one that takes a little bit more detailing, but is not as wet and sloppy. Which is the cobblestone one. It's not as wet as this one. So I'm going to go over the entire thing again. Just so I know I've got this one thing overall. And it's quite uniform. Seeing as this is a little bit redder than what I would have liked. And I could add a little bit of purple back in. I'll probably dry brush with a little bit of a red mixed brown over the top, and definitely give it an Agrag's Earth shade wash. Perhaps in this case I'm just going to take a dry brush. Just try and absorb some of that excess moisture if I can. Probably not the best dry brush to choose, you absolutely. Yeah. That's probably a better one. That's your dry brush. There we go, that should help that out a bit. Next one. So in total, I want 10 of these. It's going to take ages to dry though with the amount of thinner that I'm putting. And I'm going to have to be careful what I do with it because a lot of it's going to be running as hell. Maybe I should actually paint it with the small dry brush. That might be a better idea. I believe these are actually called smudging brushes if you are in the art world. So I've got a feeling in the future, just for one project, I might need about several of these mediumly small smudging brushes. Now we have two big red brick things done. Next is the fun part. You heard me, it is the fun bit. First of all, we get rid of as much of that red from there as we can. And this time we're going to play on the chalkiness that you can get from using a dry brush dry. And like wiping off things on kitchen paper and stuff like that. We're going to use that to our advantage because we want a stony, dry look. So first of all, we need the grey. Astra Militarum Grey. And then we need something to get it out of the pot with. A nice big scoopy brush. As we know, dry brushing takes quite a bit, so we grab quite a bit out. Until so we take a while. We'll reuse our ends. But we also make sure we clean the brush. Definitely make sure we clean the brush. And we get another kitchen roll bit just to help get the effect that we want from the dry brush. And we're actually going in with a dry brush. Dabbing it around on there. Dab it around on there. Awesome. And then we're going to dry brush over all of these. And so we actually want that powdery effect for this. A lot of the detailing will come out once the wash has gone on. But before the wash has gone on, we've got to do the colours. Because not every single one of them is going to be this shade of grey. But we need a starting block from somewhere, don't we? So we end up with that as opposed to that, which, as I said, gives us as long as there's some kind of coating on it from the dry brush, it will help just with the colours going on later. So now for the next one. So some of the black, some of the lines, some of the other stuff will still go through. It's almost like the slap chop method, essentially. Well, you know, almost about it. It is essentially the slap chop method. Just using some of the, what people call flaws of dry brushing. Realising they're not so much flaws, they're just kind of ways that you can use the paint, which I like if you got something you can use in multiple ways. Kind of shows its versatility and its ability to be multifunctional. If there's more than one way you can do it and get different effects, I like that. That's why I like the army paint. Well, the first ones they did, speed paint. It was like, ooh, that's actually a decent idea, because not only does it do the highlight, you can do the touch-ups afterwards really simply. So it's like, yeah, I like that. And then they went and changed it so it doesn't work like that anymore. So I'm not too happy about them. I can go now. Right. This is where we start getting a little bit of fun. Now we have to kind of choose greens and browns for these, or at least browns and null oils for some. But we're going to go with the hardened leather army paint 1.0, because that's the one that reactivates when you actually dry brush over it. It's good. We're going to go for the brown, and we're going to pick out some brown ones, and we're going to pick out some actual grey ones. But because of the grey dry brush we've done underneath, the different shades show up through the speed paint with it, because obviously that's what it's designed for. And we don't want too many brown ones, and we want to try and keep them as varied as we can. Because we're going to come in with some pallid bone from the same set. Just to give that do with a bit of a deeper wash in you. So on this one, obviously with me having done the big one on there, in the brown, I will not do the big one on this one in the brown. I'll probably keep this one grey if I can. One more little one down there, maybe. Let's make it two. Okay. Palette one time. Because that was hardened leather. Where's the palette bone? There it is. Now this should be a lighter brown. Overall, it should be lighter anyway. Crap. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what you call a not good thing to happen. Good job knowing it went on my actual project, and I do have some kitchen roll to hand. So that means I am taking this to the sink once I have finished. But for now, I will apply the pallet bone sections to these two, which I have ample amount of. Ample amount. Probably should have got this ready before the stream, just so that stuff like that doesn't happen, really, shouldn't I? So we do these in pallet bone. Once it is dried, it then needs. Yeah. Luckily, I had the pallet down, and it did cover most of it. Thank goodness. If that would have happened on a wet pallet, that would have been a much different scenario. Let me tell you, it would have been a much different bloody scenario. Oh, jeez. Because even though I like them, I don't pop them out very often, these things. So them tops, yeah, sometimes they get a little bit stuck. I'm a little bit clogged in at the end. There we go, that's brought that crack out a bit better. So there's little bits of colour on the actual surfaces themselves. Now, I believe everything is still drying. Yeah, everything is still drying and it's tacky to the touch. So it is a wash and then dry brush next week. But at the moment, no, I can't do the washing because everything's still bloody wet. Oh, it's not good. Oh, it's not good. And I do need to go clean up this mess. This is not a good mess. So I shall go clean that up and then I'll see how dry the other stuff is, whether it's ready for dry brushing. We'll find out from there. Let's go clean a palette up and hopefully don't spill any on myself. Okay, we have an empty and clean palette. Now, the Army Paint and Speed Paint have not dried. I can see that from here. They have definitely not dried. Ooh, sorry. Neither has a corner down there. Bugger. Bugger. That's not what I wanted to happen. Because yeah, the Mod Podge hasn't dried yet either. So let's at least have a comparison-ish to... It's not too far off. It's not too far off. It just needs that extra dry brush to dull it down for that one. Okay, we're doing well. And again, these ones not too far off. I've done slightly different browns on them, but I've yet to put in the green things, which will be done with the orc skin. I've yet to put the green bits in, but I need to do the dry brushing again over the top of this, but this time with after it's had the general Agrax null oil wash. Null oil I think it is for that one, Agrax for this one. Null oil for this one, Agrax for that one. See, it does take a little bit of thought and process. So these are going to be the testers for this style. Next time I'm going to do the testers for finish these off and hopefully start the testers for the other style, which would be more the more grey style for this. And then I'm not sure what type, maybe a more sandy style for start with like a brownie coat and go for more of a sandy style. Would that work? No, that's not brown. That's Brightland. Well, it is, but it's Brightland flesh shade. I don't want that. I'm just wondering, do I have a brown to hand? Apparently I don't have a brown to hand. Do I have something that... Ooh. I'm going to experiment on this one. This one here. So rather than Mod Podging it, like I would not, I'm just going to paint it. Because I don't want the dark undertone for it. Put you somewhere safe-ish. There we go. I never know which way around to put these things. I really don't. I never know which way around to put them. I need a brush. I need a brush that I'm confident that I can paint this with relatively quickly. Yeah, that one should do it. I just want to see what happens if we give it a bit of a different. I'm pretty sure I've done sandy before. And I did start with like a Zamzi desert. Can't remember. Yeah, because I did essentially. I just did the overside. I just turned that plate over and just did the entire top side of it and painted it. I remember now. I've done sandy-ish before. Now this would obviously get an Agrax an Agrax tone underneath. Oh, an Agrax wash over it. Before any dry brushing up with slightly brighter yellows and sandier ivories and things. May even be a nice one to add a swab away to. You never know. This might be the one where the herbs and spices come out with a bit of PVA glue. Get put in a few of the deeper gaps. Don't want anything too 3D on it because I want them to be able to stack up nice and simply. I don't want them to become like 40k terrain where they take up so much space. It's untrue. I like this just to be a little stack of tiles that I can bring out, throw on a table, stick my camera over it, and we can have a game over Discord. Or even just in the house in general. So there's a base sandy colour. Obviously now I've got to wait for that bloody thing to dry as well. But while I'm waiting for that to dry, I can do the other colour that I wanted to do for... Because my desk isn't prepared to do this, I'm running out of space really bloody quickly. Right. I don't intend to use that brush again anyway. I have one of these. And I wanted a darker grey. So I don't want that grey's too light. I want a darker grey first. Oh, I know I possess a darker grey, just where the fucking hell is it? Because a lot of my paints have been put away, so I don't have many on my desk. Do I have a darker grey in here? This is one of the few things I've not put away yet. I have a really messed up, that's going to need to go in the bin. Administration, that's the one I'm already using. Skaven Blight Dirge. Skaven Blight Dirge? It is a much darker grey. I don't think it's quite the stony type grey that I would like to look for in the... No, I'll give this a shake. Keep shaking this. See out just in case I don't find out better. But if I do find out better, then I'll go with that. I don't want Bleach Flash. Certainly don't want bloody purple. Ooh, Dawnstone. Let's give them both a shake. Is that another Administratum grey? Oh, that's a Fenrisian grey. That's going to be too blue. That's going to be way too blue, isn't it? But that Celesta grey definitely needs thrown away. And I do need a grey. Oh, what's that one there? Oh no. That's technical Astro Granite. No, that's technically a grey. It's not quite the one I want because it is a technical and it's a basing thing. I think I'm going to be better off with Scathe and Blight Dirge first. Scathe and Blight Dirge seems to be the one. I think. Yeah. In this case, I just poured the bloody thing out. And for expediency, I'm using this brush. Can't use dry brush, but don't want to use a totally wet brush either. Yeah, that's a better tone of grey. There's a slight hint of greenish to it, but I do prefer the tone of grey that is. See, it's a nice tone of grey. So, experimenting with colours. Obviously, a lot of drying to be doing until Thursday. Thursday we'll carry on. Bringing each one of these more up to a base standard. And as I've got it labelled as what I've got it labelled, I should be able to go back and find out what the ratios are. For instance, how I mix that red. So as far as I can remember, is 1 pack Caribou Crimson, 2 pack Mephisto. It just helps to remember your mixtures. So when you have to come and mix them again because you've run out, you know what the bloody things are. Yeah, I like that. I like that grey. In fact, that might be what my army turns out to be as a colour scheme. I might change. I might end up stripping all my Space Marines down, rebuilding the entire chapter from ground up, and seeing where that gets me. I am tempted. Who knows? Maybe next year is the year of the Marine. I might make this year the year of Marine, next year the year of the Ark. The Arks do need a lot of love and attention. Or I might just make it up to this year. This Marines are going to be a big project, just to start again and redo them and get everything right. That's going to be a project for after I sorted stuff out. That. So we have 2 normal ones that we know we're going to use, as well as 2 normal ones of these that are going to be waiting for just these speed paints to dry. Now we also have the grey tester and the sand tester, so we can do a little bit of both. Obviously, if the grey tester and the sand tester works out fine, that means I've got to do another 9 of each, so we've got 10. So that'll be, what, 10, 20, 30 of those ones, and 40, that'll be 40 out of the 100 plates that I've bought. Oh, did you hear me? But that means I've got, what, 60 other little ones to think of, or maybe turn into same ones, but L-shaped corridors. Just normal corridor sections that you can just use as L-shaped and make up as you wish. But essentially cut these in half and then you've got 2 corridor sections. Ta-da! I do have to trim these down though to make sure that they are nice and square and neat, which should be fun because not all of them are going to like it. So that should be interesting. But once I've got that overall size, so I know each one needs to be that big, I'm guessing if I can do around about 10 centimeters, I'm guessing that's about 4 inches. I'd like to do them more, I'd like to do them 12 and a half if I can. Yeah, because they're about 4 inches each. I'd like to do them about the 12.5 to make them 5 inches, give or take, just because I'm going to struggle with some of them. So it does look like it's going to have to go down to around about the 4-inch-ish mark, but that should be doing. Ooh, yes, good point. All the points changes are going to happen in 10th as well, and apparently we pay for upgrades, so we'll see how that goes as well. But obviously, as I've already planned out, I will be modifying my Armageddon box set as soon as I get it, at least on the Space Marine side anyway. One thing I will have to get for this edition is the Art Codex as well. So it's at least 4 codexes that I want to pick up. Or should I say 3 codexes that I want to pick up. 4th I would like to pick up. The other 2 not so fussed about at the moment. That being the Guard and the Eldar, because I've not really done much with them. The other 4 factions are the Tyranids, the Orcs, the Space Marines, and the World Eaters. I'll definitely like to get those codexes if and when they come out. Space Marines and Orcs obviously going to be first. We got a long time to wait for this to dry. I'm not going to lie to you. This may be deceiving. No, that's still a bit wet. That's definitely still wet. So we still have wet things. So I'm going to let them dry, as I said, for Thursday. If you are new here, please hit that like and subscribe. I would love to see you come in and say hello next time if you've not already said hello. Just so I can say hello back. And I know that you're here watching and we can talk if you want to. Until Thursday, though, please look after yourselves, drive safe, and... Oh, I forgot what I forgot to do. Have I still got that? I do. I've got one of these things. This is quite good.